Shailendra Kumar, Director Narnolia Financial Advisors, is going to be speaking to us right here. Good afternoon, Shailendra. A few things one wants to focus on. We've seen the drop in the market when it came from the beginning of the trade to going into a long weekend. One, your commentary on that. Number two, look at what we're seeing with the Jet Airways. Should investors who have held on to that stock at a much higher price perhaps realign their portfolios going forward? And of course, your take on expectations around an RIL.
Yeah, Fatima. See, the kind of selling we are seeing right now in the market for last couple of hours. Look at the context. Previous day, we closed at all-time high, and the morning the expectation was very positive in the market, and then this selling has happened. Books should not ignore the selling which is happening on an all-time high level, where the market breadth is really very poor right now for today's trading. The context is very clear. One, the SkyMed forecast put the correction in the market, and then the IMD forecast made the Nifty go to the new high. And after the high, this fall, what we have to see is from say in a month's time, in a 1 month trading session, what is going to happen is election will be the key ingredient about where the Nifty would be, not the quarterly numbers right now. For next 1 month, election results are the key for the market. And the kind of some numbers which is coming like a voter turnout being a little lower than what it was. And we know from the past, then whenever the voter turnout is a little lower, India particularly, has some kind of a number on the downside. So that is what is hurting the market. We have to be very cautious because we are going into a very important event in the market. So instead of focusing on result, the idea should be more focused on election for the next 1 month. Coming to Reliance, surely the near-term implication is highly positive because we also believe that Piyush was also saying right now, the kind of valuation Aramco will give to that stake if it works out will be very positive. But in the longer term, my worry as an investor is basically Reliance just has come out with a huge amount of capex in the last 4 or 5 years, and now is the time to reap the benefit in terms of free cash flow. Now, whether Reliance is planning some big capex again in some kind of a consumer-related business in e-commerce or others, where again the free cash flow generation will get delayed in the next 2 to 3 years, that is something we have to watch out very clearly. So all the positive news, short-term strength in the stock is, of course, pretty understandable. But once everything happens and what kind of a use of that cash flow Reliance will do has to be watched very carefully.
Yes, there is no doubt about that. GRM, of course, may be a positive surprise, but that is also something we are watching out for, whether it comes close to our estimate of $9.50 a barrel. But petchem, retail, telecom, as far as the geo play is concerned, all of which are going to be important pieces in the Reliance jigsaw puzzle that needs to be put together. And it won't be too long before we do that, plus everything that it brings to the table on Saudi Aramco. Meanwhile, we are looking at the auto space. The BSE Auto Index is up only marginally in trade, but Tata Motors has had a spectacular run in recent times. Even today, it's up around 3 percentage points. And Apollo Tyres, there's Hero Moto, all of which are drawing traction in trade today. But there are stocks on the downside like Exide and Ashok Leyland and Bharat Forge. But let's talk about Bajaj Auto, which is launching India's first quadricycle. It's called Qute, Q-U-T-E. It's designed for intra-city travel. This quadricycle is going to be available for both commercial as well as personal use. While the petrol variant of this Bajaj Qute is expected to be priced at 2.63 lakhs, the CNG variant may cost around 20,000 rupees more. It may come in at 2.83 lakh rupees. We had a chance to speak to the executive director at Bajaj Auto, Rakesh Sharma, about this new launch. Here's what he had to say on their growth prospects as far as this quadricycle called Qute is concerned.
It's not a national launch today. We have been rolling out Qute state by state as and when we have been securing the permissions from the authorities. Public transport vehicle for intra-city use. So we are in this really very early phase where we're just introducing this new concept to the Indian intra-city transport users.
Shailendra, in recent times, we haven't seen new launches from the auto sector really enthuse the markets. In fact, demand has been so slow right now. We're talking about when this entire turnaround story is likely to pick up again. There are signs that we may have reached the bottom, but do you think that launches like the one Bajaj Auto is coming in with, like the Qute, could enthuse the market and helped move along things?
Surely, see, for auto sector stocks right now, the whole story, at least for the next 6-7 months, because I think this slowdown in auto number yesterday, at least a 12 to 18 month phenomena. We started 5-6 months back, so we have still some 10-12 months to go where the auto number overall volume starts, increasing. Right now, the story will move around the market share gains for individual players, and the launches will be the key trigger for market share gains from one competitor to the another, right? Bajaj aggressively in two-wheeler also in the last 3 months has played this card very well in terms of market share gain. Now, quadra cycle, I think, is primarily the three-wheeler market moving to this quarter cycle kind of, where Bajaj Auto itself has a large market share. So more of a extension of the brand. Will it dramatically change the fortune of Bajaj Auto? Right now, it's a little bit too premature for me to say. But for sure, Bajaj Auto is the only player which is gaining market share in this bad time, and surely will reap the benefit when the good time comes, maybe 6 months down the line.
All right, fair points there. Let's also move on to what we're observing with the 5 Paisa Capital that has seen quite an uptake of about 14% today on the back of strong fourth quarter earnings. We had a conversation with their CEO, that's Prakash Gagdani, to really talk about the results and also the outlook going forward. Listen in to what he had to tell us.
This quarter we reported almost a 16% jump in terms of our top line. Despite this quarter was challenging, but still based on the strong acquisition that we had, we posted these results. The scope is huge and the trend will definitely continue. You see the losses coming down because incrementally we spend less because the technology, the people and all the infrastructure is already set, and that is what is getting reflected in the results.
Okay, interesting to see that conversation. Shailendra, just quickly coming to you, looking at 5 Paisa Capital, I mean, we've got, of course, the standalone numbers, the results there, but anything you have to say in terms of this kind of, these kind of sort of companies' growth, as well as the kind of projections you have for peer groups in the sector?
And this was about 5 Paisa Capital, right?
Yes, 5 Paisa Capital.
Yeah. See, naturally, the kind of
Yes.
these businesses will be riding primarily on the basis of how much of a trading participation happens going forward. Right now, the number that we have in the country is very small. So, long-term perspective for even other players in the segment is very positive. Now, these businesses has a very leveraged P&L, so you have a very high fixed cost. So, whenever the top line grows to a particular number, when the market sentiments are very positive, suddenly the PAT grows very faster than the top line. Right now, most of these businesses are sub-scale, I would say. So, the kind of profitability you see on those P&L are below the long-term possibility that is there. Having said that, valuation on most of these names has corrected recently, but still, I think it doesn't factor in all the negative surprises which can happen in the macro in the shorter term. But if the prices pulls off somewhat, it will be a good story to own for longer term.
All right, Shailendra Kumar, I just want to thank you for, in fact, having spoken to us right here on the show on Markets Midday. That's Shailendra Kumar, Director at Narnolia Financial Advisors, speaking to us right here. With that, it is a wrap on this edition of Markets Midday.
Indeed, and even as the markets feel the jitters at this point,